Hello. Hello. I'm gonna need some witchy lip gloss for this. We're gonna talk about trapped emotions. So, in emotion code, we remove trapped emotions, right? Easy peasy. What the heck? Man, I just had a big bowl of ramen. Excuse me. Anyway, so trapped emotions galore. And when it comes to trapped emotions, since I've been doing this for 10 years, you guys, I have noticed patterns. And these patterns are interesting, to say the least. So one interesting pattern is that certain types of emotions come in groups. It's just never that a certain type is alone and then you never see it. No, I've noticed that certain come in groups. I call them clusters. That is also the official word in the certification, actually. So the cluster that is often found, I see it more in women than in men. But to be fair, most of my clients are women, is hopelessness, helplessness, and powerlessness. They are grouped together on the chart, actually. So I have it right here. Let Auntie Martina show you. So where are our little friends? There we go. Column B, row 2. That's where you will find them. And they're grouped together, I think, because Dr. Bradley Nelson found that they were often found together. So why is this? I believe that if you have a certain family pattern where one or both parents come from their own patterns, their own upbringing, where there was abuse, meaning that one was the abusive, the other was the abuse victim. And when you feel the victim, then these specific trapped emotions come at play. When someone is abusive to you, think about it. You feel helpless, powerless. You feel helplessness, hopelessness, and powerless. Those three, you shrink, right? And if you, as a child, grew up in a household where you were belittled, where you physically had to hide, where it's enough to just feel that you need to hide, need to shrink, because someone was verbally, physically, mentally, emotionally abusive. You know, when you look at it like that, of course, these three trapped emotions will come. And if you come from a lineage where, let's say that you know that your grandfather, maybe even both sides of the family. I know my grandfather on my mother's side, he was definitely abusive. So my mom grew up in an abusive household. She moved away really young, started anew, she made some changes, moved away, far away, and just started anew. But of course, the abuse haunted her entire life. And of course, she was abusive to me at times, because the trauma from her childhood, of course, these trapped emotions of powerlessness, when you become a parent yourself, what happens is your subconscious has to choose. It has to choose death and survival. That's the constant choice the subconscious mind makes. You don't know this consciously, but whenever you feel threatened, whenever you feel afraid, that is the subconscious mind deciding, okay, this is not safe, I do not like this. So when it pertains to these three trapped emotions, what happens is it can choose to become the abuser. I know it has been true for me when I became a mom and my oldest started showing, her own free, independent will. My first reflex was to yell, was to perpetuate the patterns that had been ongoing for 3 generations at least. But I chose to become conscious and go, holy shit, wait, I don't have to do this. Why should I want to do this? Why? I don't have to. And that realization, that's all you need actually, to break the spell, to break the pattern of these trapped emotions. It really is that simple. You decide. And yes, life isn't linear, but as long as you decide to deal with helplessness, powerlessness, and hopelessness, you have come so far, further than the generations before you. They just regurgitated the patterns of abuse, abuser. But you don't have to choose. You don't have to choose one role. You don't have to choose either. You don't have to be the victim. You don't have to become the abuser. You become aware of these specific trapped emotions. And then you can work on this awareness and the patterns will dissipate. And yeah, you will have good days and bad days like all of us do, and that's okay. I do not prescribe to the idea that you will reach some state of constant perfection in this ever-changing world of duality. This physical world is just the way it is. So let's not put that pressure on ourselves. Please don't put that pressure on yourself. So if you have any questions, if you have any thoughts, anything, please hop in the comments. So I will continue talking about these trapped emotions, because that trilogy, that trinity of helplessness, hopelessness, powerlessness, I know when I find one, I will find the others. And when you remove them, this mentality that has come from being abused will shift. And at first in small ways, but it will shift, gradually. So eventually, it starts with maybe becoming aware. That's how it started for me. I became aware all of a sudden about my ex-husband. This is not normal. The way he makes me feel. He makes me feel ashamed of who I am. And that's not okay. That's not, I refuse to feel helpless. I refuse to feel powerless. He is trying to make me feel powerless, and the pattern used to work, because if someone is to abuse you, they need you to feel powerless first. Otherwise you will fight back. Yeah, physically, right? If need be, but when you're powerless, you don't. And this is the ancient freaking pattern of abuser versus victim. So that's what I have to say about that. Oh, thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you. I appreciate you. If you feel that this resonates, if you feel that anything that I've said so far about these trapped emotions and abuse, which is quite an important topic, please share with your friends, tag your friends that need to hear this. So Queen Bam, I have more angry feelings that will not release so easily. Anger is an interesting pattern. So anger is, let's see, where is it on the chart? For those of you who know emotion code in the chart, yeah, anger is right at row 4 in the liver or gallbladder. But anger, I find, is definitely in the entire digestive system. The chart has a standard where it says, anger, liver, or gallbladder, but it can definitely reside in your heart. But mostly in the 10 years that I've been doing this, it's definitely in the digestive system and actually in the colon. What I find with my clients whom have IBS, they have so much anger in the colon. Like, I could fucking write a book, to be honest. Every time someone tells me that they have IBS or Crohn's or any of the known, diseases. Oh, Queen Bam, you have IBS. See, I knew it. I'm sorry, I knew it. I wish for you, because I have the tendency of IBS, but I can keep my IBS calm because I know that for me, it's in the colon also. Of course the symptoms, but the trapped emotions. So us IBS family, the involuntary IBS family, emotion code can and will help. Hypnosis can and will help. And for us, the key is indeed this ancient anger that the divine feminine has put up with. And also, what I also find with us IBS, there is definitely abuse in the lineages. And actually, I'd say more on the mother side, but I think it's both mother side and father side. Definitely, because officially, a doctor told me once, you inherit biologically the IBS from the father's side. And I'm like, well, energetically, it's definitely from the mother's side. And here again, it might tie together with the role of the victim too, but that's the most common thing is the anger. And with anger comes frustration. To me, anger and frustration, they're so close linked that they're almost the same. But yet again, the trapped emotion chart, it's easy to interpret because they're like neatly on a row and they're stacked like this for a reason. So remember, frustration and anger are really close, but they have slightly different frequencies. So when you have both these trapped emotions in your colon, dear IBS friend, you have a wider spectrum of, well, crap, right? That's what trapped emotions are. They're just old crap that we need to get rid of. So frustration is, wanting to move forward, but being unable to. Anger is, that's because the frustration is not expressed. The frustration is the stagnant feeling. But anger freaking explodes, right? So the anger is actually the release. And that's why your subconscious mind kind of likes anger. That's why abuse is also perpetuated. Abuse is a subconscious pattern, mind you. Maybe that deserves its own live video, I don't know. But let me tell you, anger is the expression which gives the subconscious mind relief. So why would it let go of the tool that gives it relief? That's insane. It's like me, I've been outside all day and it's been freaking windy. And my hairbrush, it's here somewhere, would we let go of our hairbrushes? No, it's a tool, we need it. So the anger is this blessing for your subconscious mind. It's like, I need relief. I need to feel better. What can I do? Rah! Anger, And every single time, behind the anger, what's next? Sadness. That's where the trapped emotion of sadness hides. And this is where the magic can occur when we let it. And that's finding the inner child that is sad, because that's how it started. Your inner child was, I believe, dear IBS people, but I think that goes for a lot of us, your inner child was made sad. And if you weren't allowed to express the sadness, you became angry. But you couldn't express the anger either, so you became frustrated. And the frustration, at least you were quiet. At least you held your mouth shut and you was a good girl, right? Much to the joy and relief of your legal guardians. Because sometimes the word parent doesn't feel right. So, Sky, is it the same with leaking colon? Yeah, definitely. When you have imbalances in the colon, no, it's a Queen Bam, what I meant was with a blessing, it's the subconscious mind that sees it as a blessing, not us. But for the subconscious mind, it uses the tool it has been given. So we're going to talk about how we can release the anger differently. And it's making a new pattern. And it takes time. It takes about 21 days to get the brain going in this new pattern. So leaking colon, all your big diseases that influence the colon, anger is the number one reason. I personally know that my grandfather on my mother's side, who was abusive, he died from cancer in his liver. And I know, and it had spread to the colon, and I know, yeah, because he was angry. He was pissed off his entire life. I think he was abused as a kid. But since he never talked or opened up to anyone, who knows? But he's in heaven now, and it's, well, not my problem anymore, so to say. We have to let go and do the healing that we can do. So, let's talk about these tools, what we can do about this anger, because I see it a lot in women specifically. We were never allowed as kids, like 99% of us were not allowed to show anger. So it has been suppressed, pushed down. I mean, we're talking every single day of childhood. And since the anger just kept stacking up, I mean, let's say that you had 5 days in a row when you were 5 years old, and you were so angry, so angry, so angry. And then on the 6th day, you just exploded. Well, if you grew up anything like me, spanking from hell, being yelled at, being shown very clearly how disappointed they are in you for expressing perfectly valid and normal human emotions. So the tool is to tell your inner child exactly those words. You can take out a photo of your inner child, but actually you don't even need that. You can take a pillow and pretend that it's little you and hold it and say, yo, hey, hi there. I am so sorry for everything that you had to go through. I'm so sorry. Oh God, it was just unfair. No, it is hard. That's difficult. So acknowledge to this inner child that the reason they were angry is normal, and that the adults that punished the child for having normal feelings, they were not normal. You don't have to swear or be nasty. We're talking about facts here. We're talking about facts. Yeah, your big sister broke your toy, and when you in frustration hit her because you were 3, you had a normal response because you were 3. And the fact that you got a spanking as a punishment, and that you were told, oh, but it doesn't matter. No, we don't do this. Come on, stop it. You can say now as an adult to that child, no, I'm so sorry that your toy was broken. And it's unfair. It's unfair. Do you know that there is this memory that used to haunt me for years? I brought, and every 80s child here will remember. I've dealt with a memory, so I've actually forgotten the name of this toy. So you had My Little Pony, and there were a bunch of cats similar to My Little Pony. And it was basically the same factory. And they had a nice scent, and you could brush their hair. And I had a purple little cat that I loved. It had a specific name, and they were like a huge hit in the 80s. So I brought it to school. Needless to say, it was stolen. I looked in my bench after lunch. My freaking favorite toy was stolen. And to make it worse, the teacher was all blasé and like, yeah, well, we told you. So it was okay that my precious treasure was stolen. But, you know, she was just a bitter old hag. And in general. So she just assembled the class. Has anybody seen Martina's toy? Of course, nobody's going to say, oh yeah, by the way, it was me. We were like 7 years old. But this memory, all aspects of it, haunted me and made me indeed angry in the colon. Because it was mine. It was mine. So if you recognize this, hit me up with an emoji. And to not be understood, to be blamed for it. I mean, my parents, they didn't show either that, shit, this is fucking uncool. Actually, theft is wrong. You should, as a child in a small village, in a small town school, be able to leave a little toy, to trust that it's untouched. No, I was wrong. Victim blaming, of course. Like 1989 in North Sweden, victim blaming was obviously rampant. So what I did with this child, I told her. I told her the truth. No, it sucked. Damn, you love that toy. Oh, girlfriend, holy shit. That's unfair. And I felt this enormous relief. Like, really? I was not bad for being sad? No! You are a good person. And in my mind's eye, I gave her the toy back, and I even gave her other toys that she wanted. Because we can do that. You can go back to that memory where you feel that something was wrong, that something was taken from you, and you can give it. And you can even, if you want to level up, if you really want to go deep, like Viking Demon Slayer, this is what I do with my clients. I tell them to look at the child, because they're there in the image as an adult looking at the child from the outside, and I tell them to send light to where it hurts and guess where they feel tensions, usually in the chest area, stomach, digestion, and yeah, I let it spread down because I know that there is digestive issues, even if they haven't even told me. I know that there are digestive issues, and as if by magic, of course the digestive issues become more and more, relieved. They dissipate more and more and more. Of course, when your inner children finally receive freaking redemption, when justice is served, your subconscious mind goes, oh, thank goodness. Oh, thank goodness. Oh, yes, I'm free. Yes. So please type any questions. Please let me know if this resonates. Give me emojis if anything resonates. Let me know how you feel, what's happening. Let me know. Thank you for talking about anger. And this is really what has helped me a lot. And it also helps me to stay cool when my kids are angry. Because, of course, my oldest has digestive issues. I mean, she was born from the womb of someone who was really angry. I was. Man, as soon as I expressed an emotion, I was spanked. That was my childhood. So can you imagine the anger that my inner children carried, subconsciously? And then I got pregnant. Of course, trapped emotion galore for my babies. But the good news is you can change. You can shift. You can help them. So she may be born into digestive issues and she takes this laxative every day. But I know that it's soon over, because I am so close to being completely blessed, healed, cured myself. I know that alone will help her energy body. And every time that I show my daughters, hey, you are perfectly fine showing anger. It's okay. It's just we don't hit, we don't spit, we don't scratch each other, we don't throw things. That's the action that you're not allowed. Nothing violent, but you are allowed to have the emotion. I will say this out in public, on the bus, in a park, when they're screaming, I will tell them immediately. Many moms over the years have witnessed this, how I go, you're allowed to be angry, but I need you to explain to me what is happening so I can understand. And guess what? There takes a couple of minutes maybe, but the child goes, yeah, and that happened. Okay, I hear you. See, when the child, because I've seen my inner children and all the clients' inner children, basically what they want, first and foremost, is someone to stop them in their tracks and go, hey, I see you. I hear you. I totally understand. This is normal. This is valid. Okay? And then the inner child will open up to the solutions you offer. Not before. You need to acknowledge the feelings. So this is my advice for all of you who deal with children. They don't even have to be your own. Let me tell you, if you just tell them, it's okay. Yeah, you're normal. Guess what? This is normal. I would be angry too. I would be so freaking pissed off too. If some boy has broken the Lego thing that my daughter built, she comes home and she's like, and he said he was sorry, but mommy, I know he wasn't sorry because she's psychic like her mama. What can I do? Well, I can tell her, man, I hate it when people are not sincere. I know. Guess what? I'm sorry. Sometimes people will say that they're sorry and they won't mean it. I know it sucks. It just sucks. See, I can't solve it. I can't make the boy mean his apology. I can't change the situation, no. But I can acknowledge my daughter's feeling in that moment. I can tell her, yeah, man. And most importantly, I will not do what normal adults do. You're imagining things. Of course he meant it. No. When your child's, or the child that you are, get to hang with or interact with, when they have a feeling and you know that they are correct, don't edit the feeling. Let's not censor it, because that is their intuition. And we need to foster the intuition of our children on the planet. Oh yeah, adults force kids to apologize. Yeah. The forcing of the apology, that whole situation is just 100 years ago. I understand it because we were less mature as humanity. But today, make the child understand. When you ruin something for someone else, it's sad for their effort to just be in a big pile on the floor. How would it feel for you if someone broke the thing you built? Those words would have helped that boy to calm down, to think. Maybe, I know that my kids are not perfect. Maybe my daughter actually provoked him in some way. Maybe, I don't know. Since no adult was there, Maybe it went back to until lunchtime, 2 hours earlier. Something else happened. Who knows? But nobody takes the time in this day and age to talk to kids properly. It's very rush. So we will never know. But when we acknowledge the child in the moment and help them feel their feelings, they need our mirroring so they can get guidance. Yeah, I can see that you're angry. I can see that you're upset. Maybe ask, so what happened before you felt the need to break that thing? But staff today, they don't have the time. So any thoughts, any further questions about trapped emotions, you guys? Because there's a lot. And we've talked a lot about anger now, which is an important feeling. Anger can be transformative. Anger can be good, but then it needs to be released completely, and we breathe, and then we let it go, and we need to ramp up our vibration again. With me, it's listening to BTS. K-pop in general. That's how I ramp up my energy. Lighting candles, I have my little altar going, and reading a book maybe, writing in my journal. Trapped emotions connected to throat problems. Ooh, that's interesting. Let's see what Martina's brain can remember. Let's see, 10 years of sessions. I know that in the throat and the heart to me can be similar, but similar type of emotions. So I have clients every now and then. One had this chronic lump in her throat, but the doctors couldn't find anything. So then it's good to come to an energy healer, because we went back to school in her case. So this isn't a specific trapped emotion per se, but it's a specific situation that creates an array of emotions. So if you have been bullied in school, that's when I know that this client is going to have shit in the throat. Because when you were bullied in school, you were most likely not allowed to retaliate. You were most likely not allowed to even defend yourself. I was bullied. I sure as fuck wasn't. I was supposed to sit there and take it. Honest to God, that's what they told me. Just ignore them. Ignoring them actually kept them going, because it was, I didn't tell them. I didn't show anything that set a boundary. So, of course, they continued happily. I lived in that village for 15 years, and for 15 years, every single day, I was bullied. Cost me CPTSD. I understood afterwards. Anyway, so, Queen Bam, you don't have a lot of shit trapped in your body. No, darling. You're healing. You're healing every day. Look, let's adapt that as your new self-conversation, your self-talk. I am healing every day. The better it gets, the better it gets. So, the throat. When you were bullied and you weren't allowed to retaliate, trapped emotions galore. And you mentioned Hashimoto's. Yes, it goes into the thyroid, because the throat, you will have in my case, it was the voice box and the windpipe. But the thyroid, oh my God, because the thyroid has this own electromagnetic field actually that is measurable. I think it's because it's such a highway of the hormones, and it has this direct connection with the brain. I know it sends a lot of signals. There are a lot of signals between the brain and the thyroid regarding a lot of, like a whole array of hormones. So when the thyroid is either under-functioning with Hashimoto's or over-functioning, man, that person has definitely been bullied at school, felt choked, stopped, blocked in communication. And that reflects in relationships later in life, actually. Because then you will have difficulty expressing boundaries, borders, clear, like, no, this is me. And I don't have to give every person everything I have to be loved. But when you were never allowed to have boundaries as a child, how the hell could you know, right? So yeah, I'm seeing in the comments, people are recognizing what I'm saying. Yeah, so the throat is about boundaries. And if I were to link certain trapped emotions that I've seen, I'm thinking about abandonment is a big one. Being abandoned, being totally abandoned, left alone, left to rot with the bullies. And then when the adults heard that you were bullied and nothing happened, or at best, maybe you were one of the lucky ones that got to switch schools. But if you have an issue with boundaries and maybe already with helplessness and hopelessness, maybe you were already too much in the victim energy. God bless you, not your fault. So the predators, whom also came from abusive homes, but they chose the role of the abuser, and they come to school and they meet the child that has subconsciously, this is subconscious, chosen, oh, I shall receive the abuse then. I mean, of course, when those personality types meet, those subconscious types meet, of course there's going to be problems, right? We as adults, as healers, as psychics, we see all of these patterns. And then we look at the schools today and we're like, shit, how is anybody ever going to solve anything in that context of that trauma incubator called a school? Like, oh my God. Oh yeah, the parent problems can create. Yeah, you mean the conflicts at home, in the home, and then you bring it to school. Oh yeah. Right, so I saw some other interesting comments. Pardon me while I scroll. So trapped emotions in the urethra. Yes. Yeah, with the urethra and the bladder, it's about your territory. Also boundaries. It's about who you are as a person, and that people are trying to, they are trying to claw at and grasp and pull at your identity. And when they do so and they don't like what they see, it ties together with the bullying. This is also, actually, yeah, I know some clients that were bullied. Yeah, urethra is a thing, but most likely if it's a male, besides bullying, I know that it's about the territory. It's someone is pissing on you, is trying to copy you, they're jealous of you, envious of you, they want to be you. And this, I see it with men. It can give you literal bladder issues, that you become incontinent. I don't know if that's the specific problem, that you have incontinence, but yeah, definitely territory. And it's not a tough nut to crack. It feels like it, but it's all about telling yourself, telling your subconscious mind, okay, so I have this territory conflict that is happening, but it was in the past. We can let it go now. It's a process. It is a process, but it's worth it. It's so worth it. And the trapped emotions that would go with the territory, the boundaries. It is about love unreceived, vulnerability, I want to say, effort unreceived, and there is, dread. Oh God, I've seen a lot of dread, and tied to the urethra, the kidneys are, urethra and bladder are the kidneys, and the kidneys, because there is one trapped emotion that I personally had a lot of, creative insecurity. So the creative insecurity, it sounds vague, and it sounds like, well, that's not too bad, is it? A little bit of creative insecurity. What? You're afraid to show a drawing to someone? Thing is, with creative insecurity, that is to do with your identity, with your territory. So a creative insecurity, that's actually you expressing the real you. And if you have bladder issues, I know that you probably have tired adrenals. You probably have issues with the kidneys. And I know that your art, your expression was definitely ridiculed and really stomped down, or at best just treated a bit indifferently. Like they were not hot or cold about it in your house. They were just nice. Yeah, you're doing this for attention or something. So expressing your true self, I see that domino effect. The kidneys, the bladder, the urethra, feeling pissed on that you're a doormat. And see how it ties in with boundaries. And there may be a bullying, sometimes there is a bullying pattern in the past, but definitely, and I want to say that I've seen that it's more the father figure in the house that has caused the issue with his behavior, but also with trapped emotions, inherited trapped emotions, actually. So shame is all in the genitalia. Can be your urethra, definitely as well, but the shame that I find is definitely the anus, actually connected to the colon, but connected to your biological genitalia. And it doesn't matter if you identify with the gender you were born with or not. That part actually, it goes for either way. The shame will be in the genitalia, and if you're a woman, it's going to be even in the cervix itself. Oh, Queen Bang, you were taken for a mom because you were blue. Oh yeah, good. Give that newborn baby so much love and so much hugs. You can step into that birth and be your own mom and lift yourself up and hold you. I have done that with my birth. I was a secret up until the moment I came out. My mom didn't tell my father or anyone that she was pregnant with me. Nobody knew, and she's one of the lucky women, obviously, that was really skinny up until the very end. Some women are like that, they're blessed. I did not inherit that, by the way, on a side note, yikes. But I basically hopped out, and the world was like, okay, right. So I have gone to that day in all because you will need to go into several of moments. Like the second that you were born, the second the doctor said, oh, she is blue, and the second that they took you to the other room for oxygen, and you might even want to, after you've talk to yourself, giving yourself everything you needed, you are going to actually need to talk to your mother in that memory. And it's heavy. I went to my absolute favorite hypnotherapist for this. I needed guidance. I needed someone to hold space. And it did not do it with one session. I think I have gone into my birth at least 5 separate sessions. But it's worth it. It was worth every fucking penny, let me tell you, because that therapist, she held me so I could be in the moment and let go and feel safe. But that's what I personally needed for my birth trauma. So peeing too often, too much, having difficulty getting it out as a male. Territory. Someone is pissing on them. Definitely ask them. Having to get, someone is, because when I tune into the energy, peeing too often, too much, I mean, someone is afraid, very afraid of expressing themselves because their subconscious is lethally afraid of consequences. So that's something, you know, they need comfort. This person needs to know. Tell yourself that you are safe, just the way you are, just the way God made you. You are a perfect expression of God the way you are now. And nobody gets to take away you from you. Tell them this. Tell them to tell themselves this over and over and over. The brain needs 21 days to create a new habit. So that's my advice for this. So thank you guys for all your comments. Emotions tied to skin problems. You see, the skin is the body's biggest organ. So it all depends on the exact diagnosis of the skin issue and where the issue is. One client, beautiful, beautiful teenage girl, she came to me, her parents sent her to me because she was anxious and social phobia, didn't want to go to school. We're fixing that. She's doing well. But after 2 or 3 sessions, she got on her elbow, the left elbow, mostly on the inside, arthritis. No, I'm saying the wrong word. Those little red, I forget the word, those little red circles that are dry. Tiny, tiny red circles. And specifically only there. And I told her, are you feeling stuck in your way of thinking about yourself? And she said, yes, eczema, a certain eczema, that's the word. And she was like, yeah. I said, you're so stuck, girl. Become more flexible and more positive and flowy in your thoughts and in your self-talk about yourself. Right now, you refuse to bend. You need to become more flexible in your own view about yourself. She was like, shit, this. You know, when you see someone, how the thoughts are like, and she said, yeah, fuck yeah. And of course, it has disappeared. It disappeared. That session, it disappeared. So next time I saw her, it was all good. So as soon as the subconscious receives the information it needs, the symptom dissipates every single time. I have never seen anything that contradicts my opinion here. Never. So let's see. All over the body, eczema always what eczema all over the body? Well, this person has anger because eczema and the colon are like this. So I know there is anger in the colon, and I know with eczema, it's the final frontier, so to say, of the body. So the person is actually in a state of almost being ready to let it go. So in a way, with skin conditions, me knowing what I know after 10 years of emotion code, body code, and doing hypnosis and energy healing, I know that when it's an outer skin condition, it's so close to being resolved. But yeah, having it all over the body, that's a bitch. Like literally all over. So hands and face. So if it's the upper part of the hand, they are trying to protect themselves from something. And if it's the palm, they're holding on and need to let go. The outer palm, the outside, it's definitely childhood. I would say between 0 and the age of 5. 0 and 5. First 5 years, that's the root cause for this person. Ask them what happened before the age of 5. And if they say, well, not 5, but 6, fine. Okay, it's that, but definitely usually before the age of 5. That's why some newlyborns, they seem to be born with eczema. It's because they were dealing with something in the womb absorbed from the mother, and they're so close in resolving it, but it's just that final push. And that's why eczema seems to disappear, vanish overnight, because when the subconscious is done, it's done. And eczema is, I'm telling you, the final frontier. Eczema is one of the, even though it sucks and I have a little bit in my face, I mean, knowing what I know, when someone tells me, oh, we've had 4 or 5 sessions and now I'm suddenly having eczema, I'm like, yes, because I know it's going to disappear. I know. The same with me and my eczema around my eyes. There have been some things with me that I haven't been wanting to see. So I've had problems with my eyelid, especially my left eyelid, and that is the view of the world. Your left eye is the view of the world, your right eye is the view on yourself. But I am almost resolving it. That's why it's just so little. So, this is how we can constantly measure where we're at and therefore help our subconscious to move on. So the reason I'm using the word opinion is in case someone tries to edit this video, take parts of this video. When I use the word opinion, it falls under a different law, and it falls under the law of freedom of speech in any country, really. So that's why us healers, we'd say it's our experience, it's our opinion. But yeah, it's my opinion that it's a fact. So yeah. So thank you so much, guys, for being here today. I am going to wrap this baby up. This has been an illuminating conversation. I love this, and I will definitely go live more often. You will see me talk about trapped emotions, the various subconscious things that are, constantly happening in our brains. There's a lot of stuff happening every single second in all levels of consciousness. And with our self-talk consciously, we can solve a lot. A lot. So go back to your inner children. Go back to them. Give them anything they need. Anything. Nothing is too ridiculous. And if this video resonates, please subscribe. Please follow me. I've noticed that 75% of the people that watch my videos are not even subscribers. So if you do, you will receive updates on everything I want to tell you. I mean, that could be nice. So thank you for being here. Thank you so much for being here on planet Earth. Thank you for incarnating at this time. We are warriors. We are amazing. We are the ones we have been waiting for. So God bless you, and I will see you soon.